Ray Kinsler's paintings are like a who's who of the American 20th century. As a young man, his mentor was the famous illustrator James Montgomery Flagg. Flagg's best-known work, the drawing called Uncle Sam, was used for this World War I poster. But Flagg's most treasured piece, Kinsler told us, was this nude of his model and love, Ilse Hoffman.
What do you remember about that painting?
Very sensual. When he painted people, he breathed. You could feel the character in a way and the whole personality.
After Flagg's death in 1960, Kinsler helped clear out Flagg's New York apartment.
I remember looking out the window, and the painting was there. Everything was in place.
But the next time he visited, the beloved nude had vanished. Kinsler figured maybe a building worker stole it.
I said, it's probably the superintendent or an elevator operator who got his kicks out of looking at a really hot nude. And I bet you it's in somebody's apartment in Brooklyn.
That always intrigued me because I wondered for many years, had it mysteriously disappeared or had been stolen? Or was it just completely lost to time?
Collector and attorney James Head writes about what he calls the American illustrators of beauty. 2 years ago, he saw this picture in an auction house catalog. Sure enough, it was the missing nude.
So you did instantly recognize this picture?
Absolutely.
So what did you think?
Well, I thought I would never see it. This is the mysteriously disappearing nude, and there it was.
Both Head and Kinsler alerted Heritage Auctions they might be selling a stolen item. And someone else noticed, too.
We received a call from James Montgomery Flagg's granddaughter.
Sergeant Mark Amundsen is with the New York City Police Department.
She said that there was an auction going on. Her grandfather's stolen painting was on it.
Sergeant Amundsen usually investigates more recent crimes where evidence is fresh. But in a case going back 58 years, he wasn't even sure he'd be able to find a police report.
The big question was, is there ever a report made?
In other words, did anybody ever report it stolen?
Essentially.
The sergeant had to determine where the report would have been filed and then search for it.
How many records did you wind up looking at to find this report?
Roughly about 6,000.
6,000 records?
Yeah.
Why were you willing to even go through all that?
She was adamant that the painting was stolen. And it's part of her family's history, part of New York history and American history. So to get an opportunity to investigate something like that comes by once in a lifetime. So I figured I'd take a shot.
And 6,000 reports later...
It's not very big. You caught that?
Yeah.
Wow. Good eyes.
There it was, one oil painting misplaced in manner unknown. That single phrase gave Flagg's descendants the ability to get the painting pulled from the auction and put it back where it belonged, with a family member. As to where it disappeared to all those years, even the detective can't say.
We can't prove one way or the other, especially with such a time lapse, that there was ever any criminal intent. And so I couldn't prove that someone tried to steal it or did steal it. All I can prove is that somehow it went missing and it ended up on this auction house, or it ended up in the hands of someone else.
But the story of the painting is one James Montgomery Flagg would likely have appreciated.
He had a great sense of the ridiculous, and that life was, he had an ironical side to him. As he said in his will, ugliness is everywhere, but he said, I still believe beauty exists.
For CBS This Morning Saturday, Anna Werner, New York.